Welcome to the channel. The channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So many of our friends is asking me when am I going to make a English video to share. Since for past 10 days, I am sharing a series of Chinese Wing Chun video using 7 hours to share 4 parts of the series of video which title the past, present, and future of Wing Chun. Well, I share so many things because as a Chinese descendant, I have a responsibility or a duty to share what is the truth there. So it is like archaeologists. We need to base things on facts, what we find out. And that has to be shared, or else the entire thing can collapse. For example, today, if you look at all the Wing Chun history, it is based on Mui and Ji Sim. And then whoever follow down from Ji Sim teach this guy, this guy, this guy, or Mui teach this guy, this guy, this guy. Well, Mui and Ji Sim is the character in fiction. Now, if I tell you that, this guy, say for example, Mui taught this guy in Red Boat, and this guy taught my great-grand Sifu, and then my great-grand Sifu teach my grand Sifu, and then my Sifu, and then come to me. So I'm the 5th generations of whatever generations. Will you be able to take that as real? Because when you find out to the beginning of the chain, it is a fiction character. And of course, if you have a fiction character, then nobody knows what is the truth, because everybody will have their own versions of Wing Chun. Or mine from Ji Sim, mine from Mui. But both Mui and Ji Sim are fiction characters. Do anybody know what is the uniqueness of the art of Ji Sim and Mui? You can see all sorts of Mui type of style around the world in Asia. The same thing with Ji Sim. So in today's language, you're asking, hey, is Ji Sim practice karate or BJJ? How come he is the founder of this style, that style, that style, that style? Same with the Mui. You rely on that, the entire thing going down. People laugh at you. Can you get it real? And of course, I brought out like the E.G. Kamyongma of Wing Chun. Because I brought out this page. I brought out the E.G. Kamyongma of Wing Chun. In the E.G. Kamyongma of Wing Chun, you have to satisfy 2 things. One is externally, you need to train your muscle, your bones, your joints, and so forth. But internally, you need to be able to breathe. Well, in the West today, we know that your joint, which is the 7 bones, as I mentioned in all my books here, the 7 bones, you have the stable and mobility continuum. It is science in today's world, sports science. We know which ball is belong to the stable, which is a mobility. You're not doing standing down there, clamping your knee. Okay, and then you just tighten your hip. Well, sorry, your hip is the mobile joints, and also your shoulder is a part is mobile, a part is stable. You need to be able to do the jump like in the polymetrics, because in a martial art, you need to have speed. You need to be able to jump, have the rotation power, push-pull power, change direction. You are fighting, so you need to be able to jump, to launch forward, be able to change directions and rotation, so forth. And then you're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. You know that's problematic. You need to have this type of correct knee position, or else it is a kiss of death. And today, with all this gadget, you can measure it. And also, this is a 360-degree breathing to look into your breathing amplitude and your intra-abdominal pressure, so that you can keep your core stable. And as you look at this, as soon as I clamping my knee, look at the breathing and intra-abdominal pressure amplitude. Just look at this. Right away, it reduced to 1/5. Very narrow breathing. With this type of breathing, with this kind of stance, which is proven problematic for human, without understanding of this, your Wing Chun stance is, what is it good for? Besides screwing your body. Okay, I mentioned that. Another thing is about the really destructive internal marketing. In past few hundred years, the making internal art superiority or superior than the external art marketing is the major damaging for traditional Chinese martial arts. Wing Chun picked it up decades ago, okay, on this internal marketing. This internal marketing, according to the ancient Chinese, it never works. Okay? And today in science, we can prove that the ancient Chinese know what they are talking about, and what they are training in the ancient, like the 1850s Wing Chun, is according to today's science. While the internal stuff is completely screwed up. That's why it ended up to be the disaster today, where nobody can face Xi Xiaodong, the MMA player. It's a very simple reason. So in today's world, we know in 1850s training, there are three types of training, namely the 呢 Zhe Qi, which is in today's word recovery. The second type of training is circulations and build some minimum endurance, which is today's the aerobic base in science. The third type of training is a fighting training, which is in today's training is an endurance training and max speed training, such as the interval training and the HIIT training. Okay. Now we today know. So in the 1850 we have this three type of training, and the ancestors said you need to get this nurture chi training and circulation training before you can go into the fighting training. And if your body cannot make it, or after 40 years old, you better don't touch this. Has to be really careful. Okay. Now, in today's world, we know in scientifically, there's nurture chi and the circulations training is belong to the aerobic training. The aerobic training, which is good for your body, your cardio. And then we know that the so-called fighting training of the ancients is the anaerobic training, full speed, full power, endurance training. Okay. And we also know today that in this aerobic range here, you can improve your VO2 max. However, at a certain degree, you must go up to the threshold, the lactic threshold, anaerobic threshold, and going up training with the HIIT and so forth to improve it for the like the pro for the people who play the pro sports and so forth. Okay, so your aerobic your VO2 max in here, you can go this much to keep you healthy and so forth. But if you want to go for the competition of the sports and so forth, you need to go up for your interval training and endurance training and so forth. Okay, we know that. Now, there's another thing today's science we know on the distributions of the cardiac distributions. The distributions of the system cardiac output at rest and during strenuous exercise. So at rest, during strenuous exercise, you go to skeletal muscle, and during rest, at rest, it is in your internal organs. Okay. So here, you want to show in the Chinese. So at rest, most of your distributions is going to your kidney and the internal organ, and about only 15 to 20% go to your muscle. At the strenuous exercise, 70 to 85% of your cardiac output distribute to your muscle. Okay. That is, you need to know, because now you are functioning in two types of, working in two types of physiological condition. Over here in the high heart rate, for endurance, for powerful training, high speed training, you are in the anaerobic. Your blood is going to your muscle. Over here, it is more relaxing for recovery and circulations practice. Your blood is when you go to like in the rest, in the nurture chi into your internal organs. Well, the ancient 1850s Wing Chun writing know that these three types. So you need to have a healthy body, your circulations of the blood distributions is within that, using oxygen when you want to make yourself healthy and so forth. And then when you want to have a fighting based on this healthy body, then you go for the explosive, where the blood now is distributed to your muscle, and you go to anaerobic. Well, the ancient Chinese do not have this science. But today we have this science. But the ancient Chinese, based on their experience and their model of the qi and so forth, they know. Now you know what is the disaster? You look at all this internal marketing. Nobody tell you this. Everybody is going to say, you're going to 站桩, you're going to practice mind power, you're going to fa jing. Yet have no idea on it is two different types of physiology. If you never train in the operations of your body in anaerobic, and your blood and everything distribute to your muscle to strengthen that, how the world are you going to fight? So all the 站桩, all the qi, and then all this fa jing, all this mind power, you get the student to try it. You look at all of those people who doing those kind of stuff. You just ask a question, did they train for the physiological state where it is anaerobic and it is at the, your blood is distributing to your muscle big time for your endurance and so forth? You look at their body, they are not. So you know that it is a disaster, okay? And that's why I tell everybody, you need to go scientific. You know your heart rate, you know your breathing, your heart rate variability, your VO2 max, and then you know how much you can pump up your practice, your training. And like in this case is, I go for the peak. I only can last 2 minutes in the anaerobic to the peak. I'm 60 years old, like my maximum heart rate is 160. I go to the max. For 1 minute, I rest, like an interval. This is not actually interval. This is like repeating. And at the second, I cannot handle 40 seconds. So right away, I come down, and my recovery is no good. So I know that that's my limit. So that is for the explosive and power and speed endurance training. I mean, if you never go through that, how can you know how to operate in the anaerobic when your lactic acid and you over your lactic threshold, high power, and all those kind of things, and then you just do for 1-2 minutes, you get fatigued, and your body still start to feel clumsy and really fuzzy. If you never go through that, when your blood going here and provided your internal organs is healthy, be able to support it, how the world are you going to compete or fight? So you want to check for power, here. So it's obviously you cannot fight. Now, I'm not saying that you all have to fight. Okay, that's why I mentioned about this Andy Lau's movie, The Shaolin Temple. Watch that. Wing Chun is from Shaolin or from Erming. This is a Buddhist art. We are not go down there gung ho like talk with your hand, not talk with your mouth, or bully people, or being aggressive, or hatred. It is not like that. This is the truth. Now, what good is to talk with your hand, not talk with your mouth, when you have no idea on this anaerobic, where is your blood go when you get into that physiology state type of training? How can you condition your body? Well, so in order to condition your body, it's like this. Like the other day, I mentioned this chair queen exercise, the practice. Well, this is hard, but not very hard. So this is endurance. Your heart rate will be 80% above, but not 100%. Okay. This is this. This is at this level. This is at the endurance level. It's not explosive power and speed. It is at this interval training, this level. It's not the high intensity internal, but you need to have that to build out your endurance. That's how it was done in all martial arts. Why did I go through that? Sure. And also in here, that's where your lower abdominal pressure and so forth coming in. That's what the ancient Chinese is talking about in the Shaolin riding, short strike riding. Look at how the body learn to take hit. Why you take impact and all this kind of thing. That's endurance. When you want to fight in the 100% fighting, like I just showed you, in the anaerobic, when your blood go through your body and so forth, distribute to your muscle and so forth, like the Shaolin has said, you have to hit hard because it's powerful and speed and so forth. Well, it'll be like this. This is between Zhang Li and Joanna at almost 4 minutes. You see how fatigued that thing is. Well, that's really isn't it? You want to fight, that's reality, isn't it? Have you trained that way? So if you do not have those part of training in the anaerobic and your blood distributions at your muscle, and you're keeping doing, say, oh, push hand, qi sao, and then xing qi to dan tian, where one have no idea what is xing qi to dan tian, and then you expect someday you can fight. Well, this is the result by evidence. Look at what he's training. Well, look at what he's training. Well, did he go through this? Did he go through this? Well, you know he did. So what do you expect? You expect this. Or it's over. Well, even after the fight, he still had no idea why he failed. Okay, in his language, he had never known that about the momentum, and never know that that high speed, high intensity of. You can so all your internal, you end up like this. Well, this in slow motion. Look at it. What Xu Xiaodong MMA training, you know that it is an anaerobic and those high speed, high power. You look at it. Can your qi zhan zhuang do anything besides take hit? You have never trained in that type of body conditioning. So your internal, it doesn't matter your Wing Chun internal, your Tai Chi internal, you collect because you don't even know your physiological states, which is needed for fighting. You never prepare, you never train, you don't even know what it is. And keeping thinking, oh, this is Chinese secret. What Chinese secret? Ancient Chinese didn't tell you that. So as in my book, just read what Qi Ji Guang trained his student. As like just now the Shaolin Short Strike book, it tells you have to go all full force, not slow, quiet, doing it with your mind power, put your structure, lifting your anus. It never been like that. Same thing with this thing. How? Look at it. Do you have the training to play in the anaerobic, where you need to burn your carbohydrates to support your energy instead of your oxygen, which is anaerobic? Have you trained there? Just look at this. At high heart rate, 100% heart rate, and this one I go over my 161, like 220 minus 60 is 160, but I go through 176 heart rate, more than 100% if you calculate with the 160, and you look at that. This is carbs. Over here, you are not burning fat anymore. It is anaerobic. So the issue is not that I'm the grandmaster. The issue is that do you know what you're dealing with? How is this type of training supposed to make self-defense? Is that Wing Chun? That is the disaster. So in the West, in all this book, I share on what it is, okay? In Asia, everybody loves to do their stuff, this and that, but I have a responsibility and a duty because I'm a Chinese descendant. How are we going to see people going down to the tube? Just because everybody believes, oh, this is my lineage, this is my Mui, this is my Ji Sim, today is Wang Chun, tomorrow is Wing Chun. But come on, that's why you cannot face Xi Xiaodong. No way you can face Xi Xiaodong with those kind of stuff. Do you know what you're dealing with? You don't even know how to deal with your body. And stop telling me about this qi. The Chinese have the ancient qi, magic, internal power. Look at that Lei Lei who fights Xi Xiaodong get knocked out just now. Didn't he have his Chinese television show on his Danzhuang, his Tai Chi and everything? How many seconds he can last when you get into the anaerobic and when your blood is pumping to your the muscle type of states or physiological conditions. If you never train there, how can you race? Now I'm saying this is not to put down anybody, but hey, if this is a war, you better know what it is. Are you going to get your daughter or your wife or your sister to go training one of those self-defense where it completely just showing false security? Do you know what you're dealing with? And also, can we deal with this? Can everybody train in this thing? I can tell you I'm not trained that hard anymore. After 62-year-old this year with diabetic type 1 and so forth, I do not go here. Even I rarely go here. I'm really careful on the training because that's wrong or you overtrain, you can cause heart problem and all sorts of problems. Like many of our friends who have no idea on this nurture chi or recovery in today's language, go train their Wing Chun in the kind of high speed, non-stop, and trying to spar and everything, and end up to have a heart palpitations. The heart rate cannot go down. Well, it's going to damage your body. And today we know that people need this anaerobic base to build that thing up. So the ancestor of the ancient, the 1850s ancestor of the Wing Chun, now we're going to build from recovery, aerobic base. Only that is solid, it go to the fighting part, endurance and full speed, full power, which is anaerobic. Until then, it's not going to do that. And after 40-year-old, we should watch out because people might have preconditioning. That's why in my books, but how many really take me serious? So that's why I put all these things. You know, if I do not say it, I do not share it, that is my fault. Now I share it already. If you screw up, that's your problem. And if you screw up, don't say that it is a Chinese ancestor do not know what they are doing or fake Kung Fu. And this is also for Xi Xiaodong and everybody. Kung Fu is not fake. Wing Chun or Chai Lei Fat on Shaolin Kung Fu is never fake. But we need to know what is the truth. And you're going to believe on this mind power, this chi power. Just look at all those internal things for past 100 years. How many of them really fight? How many have the record of fighting using that stuff? And as we see that in Xi Xiaodong case, all those people fail. And you know that, like I just pointed out to you, of this Li Gang who practiced this way and that way, or this Lei Lei in Tai Chi, it is known to not be able to handle it because you don't have anaerobic and your blood to your muscle type of training. In the ancient, people said externally you train your bone, your sinews, your muscle. Internally, you train your breathing. And internally, you train your internal organ. Externally, you need to power up, strengthen your muscle. But look at what today is. This guy invent this mind power. That guy invent his magic chi and all this. I can give a seminar and tomorrow everybody seems to know all the internal. Are you serious? Can you face even Xi Xiaodong? We are not even talking about Mike Tyson. Okay. So that's what I'm sharing. So if we, the Wing Chuner, do not reform now, knowing the science, according to the science, what are we doing? Daydream? That's why, again, it's all in my books. How many really read it seriously? Or you still, in one way, reading my book, another way is still daydream about those internal things. Sir, there's no secret. You need to cover both your aerobic base and your anaerobic base. You need to cover your recovery and your training, and you need to get your VO2 max high up or with the interval training if you want to fight. And it's not necessary you can win. Those are just basic training. If you don't know this, meaning you have a gap there where you never cover, where you don't know. And that is the dangerous part. You get into that, it is a dead trap. So Chinese Kung Fu get into that now, playing sets. That's why I said, can everybody get a tracker, track what the heck you are doing? So this is what I like to share with you. It is a reality. Over here, we present what is it based on evidence and facts like the archaeology and based on science. And the book is there. This is not your usual common Wing Chun book of I think, you think, or whatever. Whatever is whatever. You have to know the science and the history of it. So the rest is everybody's freedom, okay? My duty as a Chinese descendant is to share what is the reality. Or else you mislead people with this marketing and then everybody going down. What good is that? In a professional way, that is really irresponsible. You're asking other people to take magic pills when you never even know what is going on.